Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the All on the Line North Carolina Redistricting Leadership Program. I'm really excited because today we have a guest speaker who's here to talk to us about how to draw your own redistricting maps. So we're going to walk through the things that you need to know and also a tutorial of how to use some free software to get started. So Daniel, do you want to pull up your slide so people can see your name?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so our guest speaker today is Daniel Tutwiler, who is a political mapping analyst at All on the Line affiliate National Democratic Redistricting Committee. So yeah, Daniel, go for it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to give a brief presentation on what you need to know when you are mapping for redistricting, as well as giving you a very brief tutorial on Days Redistricting, which is an open source web application which is designed for redistricting. So we're going to go over what you need to know before you start mapping, and then we're going to get into the tutorial itself. So what do we need to know before we actually start drawing maps? So the number one thing that everyone needs to know is the redistricting criteria. Now, criteria are the standards used for practical and fair mapping. All maps that are passed in the state legislature have criteria associated with them. And the first thing is the equal population requirement. Equal population is to ensure that each district has a similar population to all the other districts. Now, how do we get to this equal population? What you do is you take the overall population of the entire state and you divide it by the number of districts that you're going to draw. So at the state Senate level, there are 50 state Senate seats, so you divide the overall population by 50, and then you get this ideal value. And at the state Senate level and the state House level, the districts that you draw are plus or minus 5% from this ideal value. And for the congressional level, it's plus or minus a single person. Districts also need to be contiguous. This means that every single part of a district has to be connected to the same district. So no part of a district can be isolated from its district.
So you can't have a chunk of district over here and a chunk of district over here. They have to be connected in some substantial way.
Yeah, exactly. And we also need to limit administrative splits. So administrative boundaries are things like counties, cities, or townships that already have elected officials, and they also have workers who are employed by that administrative boundary, like county workers, city workers. And splitting means that an administrative boundary has more than one district within it. And you generally want to eliminate as many splits as you can when you're redistricting. However, there are some times where splitting is necessary. One of them is to satisfy the equal population requirement. So if a county has too large of a population, it needs to be split in order for that county to have more than one district. Another reason is to preserve communities of interest. Communities of interest are like-minded people who relate to one another based on some form of identity. Now, this form of identity could be racial, economic, cultural, historical, or it could be shaped by the environment that they live in, the physical environment that they live in. And the stress here is on the local community. So your own neighborhood could be a community of interest. And finally, we can analyze the currently enacted map. So you take the currently enacted map that's currently enacted in the state of North Carolina, and you look for areas with a high number of splits, and you can look at the currently enacted minority opportunity districts. Those are the districts that have a minority population of 50% or above. And you can also look at areas that have been historically gerrymandered in the past. So when you are redistricting, all of the population data that you're using comes from the decennial census. That's why the redistricting process aligns with the census. So there are different boundaries on which this population is gathered. The first one being the counties. So in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you can see that the 50th state Senate district in North Carolina is comprised of 7 different counties. So the population of these 7 counties is within that 5% ideal population deviation from the ideal population value. So in general, you want to start redistricting at the county level in order to preserve these administrative units. The level below the county is the VTDs. Now, these are called the voting tabulation districts, often referred to as precincts, and you can use these terms interchangeably. The VTDs are used when the population of a county is too large for a single district. So you have to split it into multiple districts. So here, as you can see, the 49th district in Buncombe County doesn't comprise the entire county. It is split in half. So you use the VTD level to pick the parts of that county that you want in that specific district. And then the rest of that county will be put in a different district. Now there's even a smaller unit, which is lower than the VTDs up here, which is the block units. And the block units are basically blocks are made into a single VTD district. And the only reason why you'd ever use the block level is in order to get to that equal population requirement at the congressional level, because you're trying to get it within a single person. Dave's redistricting does not use the block level, so we won't be going too much into detail about it in this presentation.
I think it's just maybe important to understand that the reason that the blocks exist is because it's about how the census is taken, is that these are kind of used to help like measure that. So that's why they exist and why we know about them, but we're not going to be using them in the software that we are going to teach you about.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and set up Dave's Redistricting. So Dave's Redistricting is a free and open source software which has regular updates when they have new data or they have additional features. It's very easy to create new district maps from scratch or import existing maps in order for you to analyze and change them. You can use this link here to take you to the North Carolina General Assembly website, which has the data for currently enacted plans. And I will go through how you can download that and import it into Dave's. The county, municipal, and VTD level boundaries are available with corresponding population, demographic, and voting data. And these can also be summarized and visually seen by themed VTDs. So you can color code areas that, for example, have a high minority population or areas that have a low minority population. So let's go ahead and set up Dave's Redistricting. So we're going to go ahead and click on this, which will send you to Dave's homepage. Okay, so when you first get to Dave's, you want to go to the top right corner and click the sign up button. You will then enter your email and the password of your choosing, and then Dave's in turn will email you to, so you can basically get into Dave's. So once you're into Dave's, you'll have this screen. Now this is your home page. So when you start drawing maps, they'll start coming here on the left hand of the screen. And you can change between different maps if you want to work on, say, a congressional map and then a house map, and you can easily interchange between them. So we're going to go ahead and build a map from scratch. So it's completely blank, no districts are assigned or anything like that. And you can do it by going here to the top right hand of the screen, click on New Map, and then you can name your map and give it a unique name so you know which map is which. So I'm going to call this map North Carolina Congressional Districts version 1. Okay, so I'm going to draw a congressional map for North Carolina completely from scratch. So we're going to choose the state, which is North Carolina. We're going to use the shapes, which are the boundaries from the 2010 census, as we do not yet have the 2020 census. The district count is going to be 13 because I'm building a map at the congressional level. And it's possible, or it's very likely, that North Carolina will gain an additional seat in 2020. So this district count will be 14 if you are using the 2020 census. Districts have equal population should be checked, and this ensures that you can get the ideal population value that I was mentioning earlier. So the goal of each of your districts is to get as close as possible to this ideal population as possible. And however, because Dave's doesn't have that block boundary level, we want to get it within about 1,000 people plus or minus from this ideal population value. So when you're done with this, you go ahead and click apply, and then and then Daves will generate a map. Just going to refresh it. Daves will then generate a map that is completely blank, and it has all of the demographic and population data on it. So it might take a second. And as you can see, now we have a blank map with the VTDs, or precincts, Dave calls them precincts, boundaries shown. The areas that have a high number of precinct boundaries are typically cities or large municipal boundaries. That is because of the high population density within them. And this leads them to have a large, density of precincts themselves. So if you want to look at the county lines, you can go here to the bottom left under overlays. You can click on the county lines, and then all of the counties in North Carolina will be shown, and they will be seen here in this blue, dark blue outline. You can also turn off the precincts if you just want to look at the counties themselves. So all you have to do is unclick the precinct lines, and then all the counties are shown. If you don't know which county is which, or you're looking at an area that you're not so familiar with, you can use the label button, and this will bring up all the names of all the counties. However, because we are zoomed out so far, we can't see all the names of the different counties. So you can go up here in the top left and click the zoom button. And if you just click the zoom button, now you'll see, you zoom into a specific area, you'll see all the names of all the counties, and it'll be easier to visualize what is going on. So I have zoomed into Mecklenburg County here. Now, if I wanted to look at the boundaries of the city of Charlotte, you can go down back into the overlays and click on city lines. Now, this gets a little busy, and the problem with Dave's, or one of its limitations, is that these cities are not labeled. So you're going to have to know which city is in which county prior to mapping, if you are focusing on a specific city. So I know that this is Charlotte. However, Dave's redistricting cannot tell me that this is Charlotte. So we're going to go ahead and turn the city lines off by going down to the bottom left and turning off the city lines. And we are going to zoom back out to have the full extent of the map showing on the screen. Now you can use the hand pan to move the map so it is centered within the screen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the county labels, and I'm going to turn on the precinct lines once again. Now, let's explore some of the data that Dave's has. So if you go into this colors section and click on the demographic tool, the map will be color coded to show you the different demographics, or the different demographic population that Dave's has. So currently we have all minorities selected, and the darker areas have a higher percentage of minorities than the lower levels do, as you can see here at the bottom. And from this, we can see that in the northeastern part of the state, there's a high minority population, as here in the Sandhills region. Because of the vast amount of VTDs in precincts in a specific area, we can't really tell what's going on in the cities because of just how many different lines there are there. So if you want to look at the specific demographics of a city, you just have to zoom in using the zoom tool, and you can pan to the section using the hand tool. So you just click and drag, and now we can see the minority population in Mecklenburg County and where they are situated.
Wow.
You can also, there you go, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that's really cool to get to see that, just like to get to see that breakdown in the cities, because I think that we are so used to seeing the statewide maps and not getting to see that kind of detail. So it's cool that you can access that here.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom back out, and then move it back to the center of my screen. And you can also look at different demographic groups if you want. So for example, if we click on the Native American population, you can see that there's a large population of Native Americans living in this area, and that is the Lumbee tribe. So very cool. You can see which demographics you want to look at. And you can also use this to identify a potential community of interest within an area that you're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off demographics now. And I'm going to turn on the partisan lean. So this just gives you a general idea of which areas vote or tend to vote Democrat and which areas tend to vote Republican. But we will not be using this tool, but it's important to note that it is here. Okay, so I've turned that off, and now we're just back to where we started. So now I'm going to show you how to draw your first district. So the southwestern part of the state is an easy place to start. So I dragged it over using the hand pan, and I'm going to zoom in to this southwestern portion of the state. So I'm dragging, so I'm getting over here to this county in the far southwestern corner. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
I think we would usually just say that's Western Carolina.
Western Carolina.
It doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but yeah. It's okay, he's not from here.
No, but I am learning. Okay, so I am going to turn off the precinct lines because we are going to start at the county level. Okay, so I have the counties on, I turned off the precincts, and now I'm going to turn on the labels so we know which counties we are working with. Now, when you are drawing your district, you need to select the district that you are going to be working on. So we are going to start with the first congressional district of this map. So you're going to select this, and this will be highlighted in this area. Now, this area, the district selector, you select your district, and then the population is the current population of that district. As we haven't selected any counties or any precincts, we currently have a 0 population in this district. The deviation is how far away we are from the ideal value. So we have to get 733,499 in order to get to that ideal value. Now, again, because Dave's doesn't have that block level, we are going to want to get within about 1,000 people. So if we go here, hover over Cherokee County, if we want to select this, on the right, you can see the details section, and it will say, it will give you some of the population figures for the precincts, for the different precincts. Okay, so we want to go here and click on county because we're going to start selecting the counties first. And then we go over Cherokee County, and you can see on the right hand side of the screen under the details section, the total population of Cherokee County and all the demographic data that goes along with it. So if I select Cherokee County and I put it in the first district, I should get 27,444 people assigned to the first district. So you click the paint map feature, have county selected, go to Cherokee County, and we will select it. And there, now you can see that Cherokee County has been assigned to the first congressional district with a population of 27,444. And correspondingly, the deviation has gone down slightly because now we have some population in our district. So I am going to go ahead and select a few of these counties. And as I do, you will see that the population has now increased and we're getting ever so slightly closer to that ideal population value. So I'm going to keep selecting counties in the western part of North Carolina until we get close to that population threshold. Okay, so I'm getting pretty close now. I need about 50,000 people. If I highlight McDowell County, I see that that has a population of about 45,000. That'll put me roughly about 7,000 short of where I want to go, which it does, as you can see here. And now my population deviation is about 7,169. So the next county that I want to add into my district is Yancey County. However, Yancey's population is too large to wholly put it within this district. So now, in order to satisfy the equal population requirement, I am going to need to split Yancey County. So I'm going to zoom into Yancey, use the hand pan, go over Yancey, and I'm going to zoom in quite close to it. So now I have a good picture of the area I'm working on. However, because the county population is too large, I'm going to have to use the precinct level. So we go down to overlays, we click on the precinct lines, and there they are. And again, on the right-hand side of the screen, if you select precincts, you will see the population of each precinct. So this precinct has a population of 2,300. Okay, so if I select that, just the precinct will be added to this district, not the entire county. And if we keep going here, so as you can see, my deviation is 4,200. If I add this precinct to this district, the population is 4,400. So I'm only going to be about 200 people away from that ideal population value, which is excellent. So I'm going to select that. And now the deviation is only about 200 people, which is perfectly acceptable. So now we are done with this district. I'm going to use this tool here, which is the lock tool. Click that, and now if I'm working on a different district, so let's say I'm working on the 2nd congressional district, I can't then go into the 1st district and unassign any of these counties or these precincts that I've already added to the 1st district. So now
you can't mess up your previous work if you lock it, basically.
Exactly. Everything will be completely saved and you can't go in and change it. So I'm going to zoom out and use the hand pan and center this. And now you can see we have a nice district here with a satisfactory equal population, and we are done with this 1st district. Now you can go ahead and click on the 2nd congressional district. And if we are going to draw it right next to the 1st one, you do the same thing as we did before. Start at the county level, use the paint map features tool here. And because we have locked the 1st district, I can't go and click on these and they won't change into a different district. A useful thing about this tool, this lock feature here, is that in a county that you have split to satisfy your equal population or preserve a community of interest, you can now fill in the rest of the county without having to go into each precinct and select it. So I just click there, and there we go. The rest of Yancey County is assigned to the 2nd district. And then you can go ahead and select as many counties as you want into your 2nd district. Just always keep in mind that the population requirement is the #1 thing to think about. Okay, so that's it for creating your first own blank map. So now I'm going to show you how to import an existing map into Dave's, and then we can look at some of the statistics that come along with that, and then we can actually go in and change the existing map to preserve a community of interest that I have chosen. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to my map section. So that's going to bring me back to the home page. And as you can see, here is my map that I just created. So now we're going to go ahead and import an existing map. So you can use the PowerPoint. There was that link that we've put in there, and that will direct you to the General Assembly website for North Carolina. So I have it up here. Mm-hmm. So the North Carolina State Legislature has provided us with a bunch of different plans from previous redistricting. So for example, if we click on the House map, you can see we have the currently enacted 2019 map, and then it goes back to the early 90s. So here we go. It goes back all the way to 1992. So in theory, you could, if you wanted to, look at all these different maps from the past and put them into Dave's. So for this exercise, we are going to import the 2019 State Senate District Plan. So what you do is you open up the State Senate, click on the enacted 2019, because that's the one we're going to use, and you want the block file. Now this is going to be a Excel file that has a bunch of data that Dave will read, and then it will generate a map based on that. So what you do is you click on the block file, it will download right here, and make sure you know where this file is, because you're going to need to import it into Dave's. So I'm going to go back to Dave's, I'm going to press the import button. I'm going to choose the file. And here it is. So I have already loaded it in. I have it in a folder on my desktop. I know exactly where it is. And it's called the Senate Consensus Nonpartisan Map version 3. That's just how it is when you download it off the website. You can rename it if you want to make just to make it easier. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to press open, and then I'm going to press imports. And now, because of the large amount of data that is associated with this file, it might take a couple minutes for Dave's to generate the map.
Yeah, so this is a really great place to start from to look at the maps that we have in 2019, because that's probably what's going to be happening in 2021. When they start to look at redrawing those district maps, even though the population has changed substantially, they probably are going to start by looking at the maps that they drew last year.
Yes, exactly. So generally in redistricting, there's two ways to start. You either start with that blank map that we drew in the first part of the tutorial, or you start with the existing map, which is what we have just gotten now. So here it is, as you can see, and you can actually see some of the districts already. So we're going to double click on this, and now the map will generate. Let me just refresh that. The map will generate, and each district will be color coded based on which district it is. And I will show you how to work with that. And again, because of the large amount of data, it will take a second to load. Okay, so now we can see the state Senate map currently enacted with its population, its deviation from the ideal value. And if you want to better visualize the different districts, this doesn't really give you a great idea just because the precincts kind of get in the way. It's not labeled. Excuse me. You don't know the counties that are there. So we will go back into this overlay section, and I'm going to turn off the precinct lines. I'm going to turn on the district lines. So now we can better visually see the different districts. We can turn on the labels, which will give us the different numbers for the different districts. So there we go. So as you can see, the 35th district is here, and so on and so forth, all over the map. And again, in the more metropolitan areas like Mecklenburg or Wake, you're going to have to use the zoom tool to zoom into those different areas and look at the different districts. Okay, and again, you can still use these different tools to look at the different demographics and the partisan lean of different areas. So now we have the currently enacted map. We can actually look at the different statistics that go along with each of these districts. And all you have to do is go up here to the top right hand of the screen and click Show Statistics. So the ID number is the district number for each of the districts. So this is the first district, even though it just says ID. Okay, we have the population, which is the total population of the current district. We have the plus or minus, how far away it is from the ideal value. And remember, at the state, Senate, and House level, where it's plus or minus 5%. Okay, so this tells you whether a district is contiguous or not. And then we have the partisan lean. We have the voting age population. Now, voting age population is different than regular population. This is the citizens that live within this district that are over the age of 18. Okay, so here we have the voting age population, so the over 18 population with the different demographic information. Okay, if you want to see which district has the highest minority population or which districts are minority opportunity districts, so over 50% minority population, you can click there and it will sort it out, and then you can see the districts that have the highest minority population. And of course, you can do it with the rest of these demographics as well. If you want some more, sorry, Leica, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Just one thing that I wanted to say is I know that we have talked a lot in other lessons about how people have sort of used minority opportunity districts to do gerrymandering. So in a lot of ways, sometimes these are districts also where you might go to look and see whether you think that it is a gerrymandered district, because you know, race is often used in that way in the past in North Carolina.
Yeah, that is completely correct. So yeah, it's very important to look at these areas and see if there's any gerrymandering going on. Okay, so we're going to go back to map, and now we are going to actually change a currently enacted district. So I'm going to zoom in to Guilford County, as I have highlighted, or I have researched that High Point, the city of High Point, that is. If I turn on the city lines here, we will see it. And the county lines I'll put on as well. We can see that this area here is the city of High Point, and it is currently split, as you can see, between the 26th and the 27th district. So for this exercise, I want to completely contain the city of High Point within the 27th Senate district. So I'm going to start by zooming in as close as I can, so I definitely do not make any mistakes when I am drawing in the city of High Point into this 27th district. Now, we're going to work at the precinct level, because at the state Senate, generally, especially in these heavily urbanized areas, the county level is just too large. As you can see, there's already 4 separate districts that currently touch Guilford County. So how do we end up actually changing this? Well, it's similar to what we did before. What you have to do is go to the district selector, scroll down to the district that you want to work on. So this one, as you can see, it's labeled here, is the 27th Senate district. Okay, so we're going to click on the Senate district 27, and we want the precinct level boundaries selected when we're going to be drawing them in, and turning on the precinct lines. So now we can actually see the different precincts within Guilford County and within the city of High Point. So we're going to be following this blue line here that outlines the city of High Point. So we have the 27th district highlighted, so that's the district we're going to work on. We have the precincts highlighted because we're going to work at the precinct level, and we want the paint tool turned on. And then if we start drawing in these precincts and putting them within the 27th district, you will see here. So I've just added a population to the 27th precinct. And at the same time, you can see the 26th district, the population is decreasing because we're taking away those precincts from that district and we're adding them to the 27th district. So for this exercise, I am preserving the city of High Point. So I'm going to continue to take these precincts away and putting them in. Sorry for that, my dog's barking a little bit. So we're going to take these precincts away from the 27th, away from the 26th and putting them in the 27th. Now the city of High Point is completely intact within the 27th district. That was the goal. However, now we have a problem. The population deviation between for the 26th and the 27th is now far above the ideal population deviation, which is plus or minus 5%, which is around 9,000 people. So now we're going to have to add population back into the 26th district. So go back and select the 26th district, have the precinct highlighted, have it selected, and then we're going to fill in the rest of the 27th districts on this side of the county, as we can't go towards the city of High Point because we just took that away and we want to preserve that within the 27th district. So we're going to go ahead and fill in this area here, and now we'll go back and look at the population. We're still pretty far below where we need to be. So I need to add about 20,000 people into this district. So I'm going to use the hand pan, move over, and now I'm going to have to go into the 24th district. So now we have another district that we're going to have to balance out that equal population requirement. So we'll select the precinct at the 26th and then start adding population to it. As you can see, the 26th district's population is going up. However, the 24th is going down. So we'll keep adding until we get to a satisfactory number. Okay, so now I'll add one more. Okay, so we're about 547 away from the ideal population for the 26th district. That's perfect. Now we're going to be working with the 24th district. Okay, so we're about 20,000 short, and we need about 30, or we need to lose about 30,000 in the 27th. So if we add about 25,000 people or so, we're going to satisfy the population requirement. Okay, so we're done with the 26th district now, and we're going to switch to the 24th. So use the hand tool to go up here. And now we're going to color in this area and assign it to the 24th to satisfy that population requirement. So 24th selected, select the precinct and the paint feature, and then we're going to color in for the 24th district until we get these two below about 9,000. So we need about 6,000 more. We can again go to look on your right. You can see the details section with the population for each of these precincts. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. That one and one more should do it. And there we go. Now you can see that the 24th has a deviation of about 6,000. The 27th has 5,000. And the 26th has about 550. So those are all completely acceptable numbers. And if I zoom out a little bit, we can now see that the 27th district completely contains the city of High Point, and each of these districts have a satisfactory population requirement. So now we have created a new map from the existing map. We've looked at the statistics associated with the existing map. And now if you want to, you could compare those statistics to the statistics that you've just drawn within this new map. So all you'd have to do is go back to the statistics, look at the 27th and 26th and 24th, and then compare that with the statistics from the currently enacted map. And there you go. Then now you know how to use days redistricting. And I really appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you all, and thank you so much, Daniel. It was so great to have you here. You're the expert on this stuff, and I'm so glad that I had someone else to walk through this, because you did it in a really fantastic and detailed and easy to understand way. And I hope that everyone now feels confident enough to dig in and start messing around with this stuff and learning this tool, because it's such a good skill to have for next year. So thank you all. Thank you all for watching this, and I will see you again soon.